Welcome, everybody, to the Hollow Bone with Phoenix. I'm so excited to have you here. If you're new to this, the hollow bone means being a conduit or a channel for source energy to come through with guidance and messages and healing and even miracles. So every week on the show, you can expect to hear live channelings that open your heart and lift your energy. Or you might hear conversations with visionary leaders walking their own path of alignment. Or you might hear healing transmissions that flow directly through the hollow bone. So whether you tune in live or listen to the archives, every episode is a chance to receive more guidance, expand your awareness, and align more fully with the miracles already waiting for you. Today's interview is with a beautiful woman by the name of Elinor Stutz, a visionary leader who's walking her own path of alignment. Growing up, her dad pounded into her to never give up from childhood through adulthood. She was ridiculed horrifically in California, only to find out at a late stage that her thinking is different from others. But the bullying taught her how to stand up for herself, and she doesn't let anything or anyone get in her way. She will jokingly say that her smile is her disguise. She had a near-death experience that pointed her towards serving communities via a high-performing blog, and now she focuses on empowering readers with insights on how to advance their businesses and careers. Her mission is rooted in the motto, believe, become, empower. Welcome, Elinor.
You for the beautiful introduction, Phoenix.
Well, it's all there. I mean, this is what is written in your bio and your about section on LinkedIn, and this is who you are. This is admirable. So thank you for being here today.
Well, thank you for having me as your guest.
Absolutely. Now, you are it is an award-winning series, The Mission Hope, but it's also best-selling series. And you've been an author through several of these books. Version 6 is really about miracles, and it's called Every Heart Holds a Miracle. You have a beautiful story in there that was just so empowering to many, and I wonder how much of that would you like to share with our listeners today?
I'd be very happy to. Like you said, I was taught at an early age to never give up despite what happens to me. So I was in corporate sales because my communication style is natural for sales. I was always a top producer, but a huge embarrassment to the men. And my quota was always tripled for the following year, which was impossible to make, and I always had to go get a new job. After 10 years of the nonsense, I decided to take one day off for myself. I was at a red light, about to make a left turn, and suddenly, zoom, someone slammed into the back of my car at full speed. I told the doctors I could actually feel my brain swaying around in my head, and of course they didn't believe me. But they didn't want to touch me either. So for 10 years, I had to put a noose, believe it or not, on my door handle and the back of my head in the noose, and then lie straight on the floor. And that helped somewhat relieving the pain.
Oh, that sounds horrible.
And then I say, thankfully, I was a passenger 10 years later, one evening, when it was raining, and upon a left turn, the car skidded into a lamppost, and I timidly said, I think you better call an ambulance. So the ambulance came, and I immediately thought to myself, oh my goodness, my last ride with my mother was in an ambulance. Is this going to be my last one too? And I caught myself. I said, no, Elinor, you have to think positively. You're finally going to get healed because this is the best hospital we know. So I'm at the hospital and my family's taken into consultation. Suddenly I hear tremendous sobs, but my experience was completely different. I'm on a gurney awaiting admission. An extremely beautiful and memorable gold light encases my entire body. And then a vision comes to me above. And it shows me becoming a speaker. And in my mind, I said, yes, that's what I always wanted to do. That vision gives a blink of a gold light, disappears, and a second vision appears above me. And it's my life report card. It shows high life marks on the left-hand side, but the right-hand side was a complete embarrassment. labeled community service, completely blank. In the moment, I promised to begin giving back to communities any way I might, but being the salesperson, I said, in my mind, of course, to give my best, I need to walk out of this hospital on my own. And I saw a blink of a gold light. That let me know I'd be well, no doubt in my mind. And that vision faded. The beautiful gold light over my body slowly went away. And then I was taken into ICU that felt like a spa. While I was there, a doctor came over to me. Now, mind you, I'm heavily medicated and not thinking clearly. He says to me, Mrs. Stutz, I'm a brain surgeon, and I was driving by the hospital, heard about your accident and what happened to you, and I'd like to do an experiment on you. Nobody in their right mind would say yes, but I did. I said, yes, that's what I need. So he wheels me into this area where they have a slew of heavy weights. What they do for a broken neck, literally, I can't exaggerate this one. They put a metal halo on your forehead. There are two holes in there. They literally take two screws and hammer it in on each side into your forehead. And then a chain goes down to your spine and they attach a 5-pound weight. That's the traditional method. But it didn't do a thing. So he said, are you ready for my experiment? I said, I sure am. So he attached 60 pounds of weight. And instantly I felt well. Then he takes me back into my room. It's a teaching hospital in California. And the students come in and he tells them what he did. I'm a salesperson, always looking at facial expressions and body language. Their eyes almost popped out of their heads. They could not believe the nerve he had. But to me, it was a sign again I would be well. I was heavily medicated, slept well. The next morning, I'm taken in to see the surgeon and told I'd have 2 minutes to speak with him. Yours truly was expecting words of encouragement. Instead, I heard, Mrs. Stutz, when you wake up, most likely you will be paralyzed. The most likely meant to me, he didn't expect me to survive. And being the salesperson, I used some of his words and I said, Doctor, when I wake up, I fully expect to be well. He jumped backwards before cutting me open. 4 hours later, he's standing over me and he said, Mrs. Stutz, there's no rhyme or reason for what happened, but in 4 days, you will walk out of this hospital on your own. Sales skills saved my life. So then I was put back into ICU and everybody came to see me in the room and they all referred to me as the walking miracle. And it took me years to figure out what happened. I have a scar to prove everything occurred that I'm telling you. But I told one person who I thought was a good friend about what happened. And she said, you had no right to speak to the doctor that way. And I'm thinking, oh my God, that's what saved my life. You have no right to be my friend. And that was the last communication we ever had. But I never told anybody for 10 years what happened. And I'm glad I did because there's part 2. Are you ready for it?
Yes.
Well, we moved again to a third city in California. And I knew one person, she was having a birthday party at a restaurant. So she asked me to come and I was thrilled. I'd finally meet some people. So I go into the restaurant, everybody's in a closed circle. They wouldn't invite me in. There was no room for me. I didn't know what to do. But thankfully, this Asian lady comes over to me and asks if I'd like to have a conversation. I said, of course I would. So she said, let's go to the other side of the room so nobody can hear us. I said, all right, that sounded a little strange. I sit down. First words out of her mouth, you Americans are so ignorant. You have no idea that when your body is in deep danger, your molecules are working inside, banging into each other furiously to help with the healing, and that's what produces the gold light. I was speechless, almost fell off the floor, and she walked out. I'm the business person. I didn't ask for her business card. So the next morning, I called the birthday girl to ask for her contact information. And she says to me, Elinor, we have no idea who she was or why she was there. Again, speechless. Well, fast forward, about 10 years after that, I was a sales trainer, and I was asked to train a group of new entrepreneurs in New York City. It was a huge honor, so I went, and everybody was talking personally about how they got into business, and something said to me, share that crazy story with them. So I asked if it would be all right, and they all said, sure. So when I told them about that lady who happened to know about my experience, 3 of the students said, oh, that was an angel. She came to explain it all to you. And then someone said her mother was in a cruise ship that turned overboard in a storm. And her mother was the only one that survived in the rough waters because an angel came and saved her.
Oh my goodness.
I was speechless for a little bit, and it took me a number of years to, get it all together in my mind. But nevertheless, I'm here and I'm thankful. To date, I have had, well, in a couple weeks, I will have had 24 extra years of life.
Oh my gosh. Pain free?
Yes, pain free, and I have a scar to prove it all happened.
Wow.
So,
Wow. This is a
and
remarkable story.
yes, it is. And the best part was I became a better person. I took it seriously. If I had the gift of life, I needed to commit to what I promised about helping communities. So I began Smooth Sale initially to help people sell better. And Smooth Sale stands for earning a returning and referring clientele. But then when we moved cross country, I was an older woman. And once again, the discrimination didn't go away. I pay for business conferences, mostly men. They take one look at me and turn their backs on me, not even say hello. Thankfully, blogging came to be. And I was one of the first to adapt to blogging. And it was a gift, it really was. But my goal with the blog was to help readers advance their business and careers, plus share experiences to help them speak up diplomatically.
Oh, I
And
love that.
yes, so I kept my word. I'm serving communities the best I may.
Well, and that blog, I think, lasted for like 20 years or something, didn't it? I mean, it went on for a really long time.
Yes,
I mean, that's significant. And you won all kinds of awards for that.
I did. It was pretty remarkable. And I realized my speaking up, it was because I grew up with bullies and I knew how to handle myself at a very early age.
Mhm.
And so years later, I go to networking events and meet people. But when we move the first time further north, I went to an event and I announced that I was a sales trainer. That was after 10 years of a success in the sales field. People jeered me like you have never heard before when I said I was a sales trainer. I jumped off the stage. Woman came over, kindly told me to establish credibility, you have to write a book. My phone wasn't ringing. I had nothing to lose. So all those awful corporate stories came to mind. I refer to the book as a corporate tell-all with names changed to protect the guilty. But it's also the underlying community service aspect is to teach readers how to speak up with diplomacy to get their point across and have it made. So that book became the one you see behind me, Nice Girls Do Get the Sale, Relationship Building That Gets Results. Almost instantly, it was featured in Time magazine. I was on ABC TV News with Spencer Christian. And then during COVID, it became evergreen among the classics. So I'm very proud of that achievement, and all because of the ridicule I got all my life. So that's another reason, never give up, find a better way.
Yes. But it was also honoring, what you were given during that golden light episode. This is where you need to go, and you said yes, and I will make it happen. And you
Yes,
did, and it also is a testament to how when spirit wants something, spirit's going to make it happen also. As long as you're showing up, a spirit will show up. You know what I mean?
absolutely. And then the other part of community service, since that took off so well at the beginning, I realized people don't know how to interview for jobs, whether it's sales or something else. So that's when, if you don't mind my doing this, I
No.
wrote Hired, how to use sales techniques to sell yourself on interviews. I don't know if you can see it or not.
Just barely. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
So at any rate, that did very well too.
Wow, I would imagine. I would imagine because you had established your credibility and people were more comfortable with you and you'd won all these awards and had all these testimonials. It was like, come on.
Can I tell you a funny story? One funny story about getting hired?
Yes, please.
Okay, well, when I wasn't permitted sales training up front on my first sales job because I was a stupid woman, it would be a waste of money.
Oh
I
my
took
God.
a I took a public speaking class from Dale Carnegie, not him personally, but it was his class. And the first night I was scared to death to announce my name. In the middle, I realized everybody was laughing at the stories I was sharing. And I thought, were they laughing at me or at the stories? But I got the answer the last night because I became the grand prize winner.
Jeez,
So
that's
in
amazing.
sales, I never, or any communication, I always share stories.
Yeah.
And I realized I need to put that in a book about how I got hired the first time out at almost every job interview. And one
Oh.
story stands out. When I met my husband, he was a programmer with an airline. And his goal, which made sense to me, was to go the furthest points possible because we wouldn't be able to afford it later on. So we took a photographer safari in Africa. And I love taking photos. At any rate, I was mesmerized by the beautiful giraffe running in the sunlight just so elegantly and so rapidly. It was amazing. So on my second job interview, or for a second job that is, I was asked if you could be any animal, which would it be? So I described the giraffes. And then the closing factor to get the job was, and salespeople are accused of always going after low hanging fruit. But if I were a giraffe, I have the longest neck and I could get the fruit off the top of the tree. And she said, "You're hired."
That's brilliant. I love that.
Yeah. So I like to have fun in conversations too.
Well, it's essential, right? Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. This just is such an amazing story of how it opened up your life and how you have used it as a gift of service to give back to so many. It's really quite a testament.
Thank you. It's become the more rewarding part of my life business wise. Obviously, my family is highly rewarding, but for business, that did it. And
Absolutely.
so my expression became, when we reflect on our lives, many of us can realize our worst experiences are our gifts in disguise when we're willing to learn from them.
Absolutely. Oh, I just love that. I really do. It's so poignant and so true. Hmm. Oh my gosh. Now, I wanted to ask one thing about that surgeon that happened to be driving by the hospital, just happened to be, and heard about you, and then just happened to be a teaching hospital. I mean, that's quite a variety of synchronicities, divine synchronicities, don't you think? Do you think there was more to it than that?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you kind of jokingly, shall we say. He did claim to be from Johns Hopkins Hospital, but afterwards I asked everybody if they knew that surgeon. They said they never saw him before, never heard of him. So, in today's environment, there's a lot of news about aliens living on Earth. So, I jokingly said with a friend who believes in this and shares with us all the videos and stories, do you think that surgeon was an alien who was helping me?
Oh. And what did your friend say?
He just burst out laughing. He did not answer.
And any thoughts that it might be an angel?
I have no idea. I can't
Oh,
say. That's not
no.
my field. I have to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. It was just that the golden light, was
I
kind
was
of like,
fortunate, very
yeah.
fortunate. And by the way, after I recuperated for 4 days, we got a beautiful gift basket and took it into the doctor who I talked back to and
Yes.
for his staff, and he gave me a huge hug. So it was all good.
Oh, everything just resolved and came full circle.
Yes.
Amazing. Oh my goodness gracious. So you still continue to impact people in sales and in their lives, in their business lives. And I was just reading on, I think it was your LinkedIn profile, that you have been a content contributor to Biz Catalyst 360. So you want to talk about that? Because that's a big deal.
Yes. I was stunned that I was asked to contribute,
Wow.
and it's a giant organization. And there are a number of subgroups, different types like sales and marketing, which obviously is a good fit, business women, and but then others that are extended but still fit the business world. I mean, there are many, many groups, and I was invited to post in the ones that I thought were most appropriate. And
Wow.
that made all the difference for my business. I
Oh,
could not believe how much attention my posts began to get.
wow.
So it's like the crowning glory of everything that I've done.
Yeah.
It's incredible, and I'm highly appreciative.
Oh my gosh. And you still are contributing posts to it, I assume.
I am, and I have to tell you a secret of what helps. There
Ooh.
are amazing people in that group, and two of them write every day, and
Wow.
we think similarly. So every time I read their posts, it gives me an idea about my past experience and how I could be of service. And so we include each other in our writing every day. It's
Oh,
amazing.
oh, is one of them Cindy?
I'm
Cynthia?
sorry?
Is one of them Cynthia or Cindy?
Cynthia Gogol.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she's so inspirational.
She seems like it. I haven't gotten to know her yet, but yeah, just reading some of her things, and she always thanks you and, holds you in high esteem. It's really delightful to see that.
I'm going to do a pitch.
Oh, good.
Cynthia Gobel is coming out with a book, and I can't wait to read it.
I know. And she already has a book out too, right? So this will be her second or third, something like that.
Oh, I can't answer that. Maybe I misspoke.
Oh, no. I think she wrote one about being in the foster care system. Yeah. And
Yeah, her experience, I don't know how many people would have survived everything that she did.
oh,
She is absolutely remarkable.
yeah. And she's such a being of light and love. It's really incredible how she has transformed herself, from that awful experience to.
Yeah, I thought my experiences were bad, but hers take the cake, shall we
Oh,
say.
oh gosh. Bullying is it's become so prevalent, and our society has become so judgmental, that it's accepted more than it should be.
Oh, yeah, I was not one to accept it.
Good for you. You really embodied your daddy's advice there. Don't let
Oh,
anyone or anything put you down.
yeah, I'll tell you what my technique was, and maybe it would help listeners. When
Absolutely.
I heard the terrible verbiage hurled at me, it was all through school, even peers. I would stand in front of my mirror starting at a very young age, and I would repeat to my reflection the awful words I heard, and then I would weigh the pros and cons, and all the while watch my facial expressions and hand gestures. Little did I know that was the perfect training for sales.
Oh
And
my.
that's how it became a natural skill for me.
So you reframed it and looked in the mirror as you were reframing it so you could see the empowerment coming in. Is that how that worked?
Well, initially I would repeat the original nastiness said to me,
Right.
and then I would start thinking about, did I miss something? Can I improve something? What could be done? How can I reply to this?
Yeah.
And it all blossomed into my sales ability.
Oh my gosh, that was a great reframe, wasn't it? Oh my
So it
God.
was. And then there was one important statement made in seventh grade. I'll never forget it, by a science teacher who said, it's survival of the fittest. And that always remained with me.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, he was talking about the ancient creatures, but I was thinking you need to be fit in the business world.
Totally, totally it fits. Oh my gosh. And you also discovered something about being different from, being in that 2% of the population compared to everyone else that was around you. Do you want to talk about that?
Yes, thank you. So I was ridiculed by everybody and branded fat, stupid, and ugly. That
Oh,
was my title.
oh.
So I always wonder, why me? Why is everybody calling me stupid? Why doesn't anybody ever agree with anything I say, even my adulthood? And then finally, I don't know why, something prompted me to subscribe to the WebMD newsletter. Lo and behold, my answer came in that one newsletter. It said, green eyed, left handed people represent only 2% of the global population, and we think differently. And it was like, finally, after all these decades, I have my answer. I was so happy.
Wow. And
To
did
give you
the,
an idea, oh, this is a funny story if you want to hear it, how I
absolutely.
think differently.
Yeah.
We were invited to this friend's house, and she lived in a part of town where there weren't a lot of straight streets. So everybody always missed it. And we were sitting at her dining room table for a group to come. And once again, everybody was a half hour late because they missed the turnoff. I said, what's so difficult? All you have to do, oh, part of the problem was there was a street sign, but there was a huge tree hiding the name of the street. I said, it's not that challenging. All you have to do is look for the dark purple house and make a left turn. And they all said, of course, you're an idiot. That's ridiculous. I said, well, I was here on time. How about you? Well, we're not going to do that. Well, guess what happened the next time? They finally decided to look for the purple house, and everyone made it on time. I'm a visual, and I don't know street names, but I know whether a market or a shoe store or something's on the corner, and you make a right turn or a left turn.
Yep. Yep. And that's easiest for people because people can't tell directions anymore.
But I've been like that my whole life.
That must have been so gratifying to find out that there was you weren't alone, first of all. You're in a 2% of the population, so other people do think like you. And just to have a logical explanation for why you are so unique had to feel so gratifying.
Absolutely. And I've come to realize maybe I'm not so stupid.
Oh, I think you proved that over and over again. But you probably felt like you had to prove it over and over again
Yes,
with all
I
the
did.
challenging circumstances you were in.
Yes,
Oh
yes.
my goodness. So, what advice would you give to women these days? Because I mean, it's a different culture now, right? But there's still that expectation and there's still prejudice and, bullying. And so, what advice would you give to a young woman now?
Yeah, I believe the discrimination still exists, maybe even a harsher way.
Yeah.
My advice is listen to all the words and don't submit to what the person's telling you.
Mhm.
The simplest question is, with an innocent look on your face, is why? Why are you saying that? Tell me so I understand. It's the only way I'll know how to proceed. And it puts people on their heels. They don't know how to respond to that.
That's
And the
true.
funny part about this, I know a highly successful salesman in England. We met online, and his favorite question is why. So it confirmed mine after all these years. It's the
Mhm.
best question to ask, and it's you don't forget any extra words. Just why? Tell
Yeah,
me why so I can make improvements.
yeah,
And then you start weighing everything that they say privately after the fact, and then you know the better way to proceed, whether to heed that advice, avoid that person, or sometimes ideas come and you do something far more extensive.
yeah. Good advice. Really good advice. Because it shifts the power of the bully, right back into their lap, and they don't know what to do with that. They just want to, control something else. And yeah, wow, that's great advice. Do you talk to a lot of groups of women specifically?
Okay, I have to tell you, when I first came out with the book, I had the opportunity to train with Les Brown, and he was a well-known inspirational speaker,
Hmm. Yeah.
and his advice was sensational. He told me to open up with a question to put people like, and then listen. So that's what I did every time I gave a talk at a conference.
Ah,
And the standing ovations included thunderous applause
yeah.
because I did share my horrific experience in sales and then what happened with the near death experience.
Yeah,
And
powerful
it
story.
was incredible. I loved it. But here's another element of discrimination. I went to the best conferences to speak. I was very honored. However, the men got huge remunerations, and I barely got enough to cover expenses, let alone my time spent. So I finally said, I've had enough of this. I mean, I
Good.
enjoyed it immensely, but it wasn't worth my time or the money that I had to spend.
Hmm. Hmm. It's interesting. It was just getting worse. Yeah. Wow. What does that say? Oh my goodness. So, but you're doing a great service of being really upbeat, positive, helping people with their businesses, helping them to understand, how to go farther, to up level themselves with all of your writing. So, you just shifted your perspective of how you were helping. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I actually was hiding behind my blogging at that point in time. People could see my writing, but they couldn't see my face.
Oh, that's interesting. So, did they think you were a male then?
You never know. Well, because not too many women have the sales experience that I had. Maybe
Absolutely.
today they do, but when I started, they didn't.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Wow. That's incredible. Oh my gosh. Let me just see if there's anything else that I wanted you to. Oh, the role. Oh, yeah. You've really addressed the role of self-talk. I think that is so powerful. Um, And then the title of your chapter is Believe You Can, Plan, and You Will. So, I mean, obviously your story inspired that, but that's a pretty specific title. So, is that something that you use all the time, or is that something that you thought was just more appropriate for that chapter in the Miracles book? Or can you tell us more about that?
The Miracles book was a miracle for me. Like I said, I hadn't shared my story with anyone, but last year, I was beginning to feel it was the right time to share it, but I didn't want to go through all the troubles involved with publishing a book. Lo and behold, Shar Murphy asked me to contribute my story, and that was a miracle in itself. And I was
Yeah.
so happy that Mission Hope version 6 was published. My story nonetheless is miraculously again the first chapter,
Mhm.
but I felt it was time. That was another element in my mind for community service, telling people no matter what horrific incident or accident they are in, there's always a way around.
Mhm.
if you put your mind to it.
Absolutely. That matches exactly. I was talking to a physical therapist the other day, and she said, physical therapist is not about the body, it's about the mind. And I think that,
Yeah, you're going to a good one.
yeah,
Usually they sell you stuff.
yeah. Yeah, she wasn't a salesperson, that's for sure. But I think that's so true for everything, right? What you believe is true. So if you
Yes.
believe you can't, that's going to be just as true as if you believe you can, right?
Okay, I'm going to tell you something else, and you may want to cut it from the video. I don't know. But it's again to help women.
Good. Then I
You
won't cut it.
you must have encountered women who were told they had cancer of some sort and needed chemotherapy.
Right.
Well, yours truly, I had a doctor that kept telling me I had cancer. I said, no, I don't. And he finally said, you've got to go see this oncologist. All right, I'll go see what he has to say. Well, that oncologist was like a used car salesman.
Oh,
And his
geez.
last words to me were, and literally last words, you have cancer. You have to sign up for chemotherapy today. Sign here.
Oh,
I
no.
stood up. You know what I said? You know what you need to do, doctor? You need to find yourself another patient. And I went out and I slammed that door so hard that everybody in the hallway jumped. No joke. So then I went online and I found somebody who reports misdiagnoses to the board. So I called him and he said, it takes 3 months of research. And are you sure you want me to do this? I said, absolutely. If it helps one person from not mistakenly taking chemotherapy, 100%. He
Absolutely.
calls back like 3 months and a day. And he said, Mrs. Stutz, are you sitting down? I said, yes. He said, you were 100% correct. He needlessly sent a lot of women to chemotherapy. And I reported him to the board. And it's almost all white male. And they said, nah, he's a good guy. We'll keep him.
Oh,
And so from that point on, well, I have to tell you, there are 2 points. I only go to female doctors.
yep.
And the other one in San Francisco, I learned to go to Asian doctors because they don't sell remedies, they sell healthy ways to improve your health.
Absolutely.
Food, green
Absolutely.
tea. I drink matcha every day.
Me
And I
too.
had, since that day that I was diagnosed, I have not had an ounce of progression of needing chemo.
Oh my gosh. Congratulations. That is huge. That is just
Yes,
so
it
huge.
is.
Oh
Yeah,
my,
it could have killed me because I don't handle medication well.
no, and it's not proven to last anyway. So, why would I'm not knocking people that choose that, but I'm just saying look at the research. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
good advice.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Congratulations.
So you
Oh.
hear that I because of the bullying, I know how to speak up. And I say, watch out, my smile's my disguise. I'm
Is that
hearing every word you're telling me.
that's when you're at your most lethal is when you're smiling? Is that what you're
Yes,
saying?
yes.
Oh, yeah. No, that's good. That's really, really powerful. Oh my
Thank you.
gosh. Thank you. Oh, I just love these stories. You're just so good. Okay, let me just look at my notes and see if there's anything else. Believe, become, empower, overcoming obstacles, because you never gave up. That is such a powerful motto.
Oh, it is. Yeah. In the early days, from the earliest I can remember, every night at the dinner table, my dad would compare athletes to life and
Oh,
how they kept fighting to win to the last second. And
wow.
as a teenager, it got annoying. But in business, I realized they were wonderful examples.
Yes. I think we're seeing it now with the Olympics too, these athletes that just will not be denied. They just will give it their all and then another 10% besides.
Right,
So
right.
really incredible. Good mottos, role models for all of us, really.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this has been so wonderful. Do you have any last minute thoughts or stories that you'd like to share?
I have so many stories, but mainly believe in yourself. It doesn't matter what anybody else says. Another motto is we only have one life to live, and it's our duty to live it our way without regrets.
Oh, beautifully said. Beautifully said. No regrets. And let's raise the golden bar.
Yes, you can do it. Believe in yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I want to thank you because the listeners might not know that this is our second interview. The first one had a terrible glitch. And thanks to you, who said, we are not accepting less than perfection. So we are going to do this again. And I really wanted to thank you for that publicly because what you taught me in that moment is don't expect, don't just like acknowledge less than perfection, reach for the perfection, don't let anything hold you back on that. And that's a really good motto for everybody's business, right?
Yes, on
We're not
every level.
at,
I appreciate your willingness to do this again. I know it's a lot of work on your end.
oh, but I'll tell you what, I think this is actually a better interview than the first one. And I thought the first one was great.
I did think it was great, so I'm thrilled that that happened.
Yeah, I know. See it, and I think you referenced that too. Just it's all in what you choose to learn from it, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Eleanor. It's been just a delight. I really
Well,
appreciate
it's a
you so
treat to
much.
be your guest. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Oh, awesome, awesome. So maybe it'll happen again. Who knows? So thank you so very much, and you have a wonderful rest of your day. And thank you, listeners, for listening live as well as on the recording in the archives. So,
Thank you.
yes.